Ready, Freddy, go. Ready, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the show. After the show. It happens right after the show. Cheers.
I can't wait till we have our coffee mugs and can actually.
I know, it's going to be so great. Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic. This is one of those videos.
Bang, dang.
I was like, they could tell my voice sounds really congested.
I don't think you sound that bad.
Yeah.
I know how it is. Yeah, I've been there. Actually, I remember back in the days of Fast Fact, there was one day like where I like legitimately was the only time I ever lost my voice in my entire life, and I was like, well, I have to make a video today, and so I was like sitting down. I felt like I was screaming at the camera. I'm like, hello and welcome to another edition of Fast Facts. Blah, blah, blah. And like at the end, I literally got on camera and I was like, guys, I'm so sorry. My voice is so horrible, and everybody was like, I did not even notice at all. And
did not even notice.
I like literally for me though, it was like the worst my voice had ever been.
I know, like. The problem is, it's not your voice that's wrong. It's obviously your ears that are wrong.
Right.
And so your ears are hearing your voice wrong. That's what it is.
That's how they get you.
Because anytime someone's like, sorry, my voice is so weird, I'm always like, it's not.
It doesn't seem that weird.
But no. And that's not, we're not even talking about Filch yet.
Yeah, no.
What about Filch?
How about him?
Hey.
The guy makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like, literally, when you start thinking about, like, what his role is, like, he seems good at it in some capacity. Like, at some point in time, he caught the Marauders. He had the Marauders map. He seems to, at the very least, have caught Fred and George a handful of times because they were in his office when they stole the Marauders map back from him. And he seems to find Harry basically just all the time in the middle of the night when Harry has an invisibility cloak.
Yeah. So despite never sleeping, he is pretty good. Yeah, Harry's so bad at using the invisibility cloak and the Marauders map. It's like, dude, you should just never be caught. Ever. How do you keep getting caught?
Right. You know where everybody else is, and nobody knows where you are. How are you losing this game?
I know. Because you should be the best at hide and seek, like, ever.
Filch is just dang good at his job is what it really boils down to.
I guess so.
But why is he allowed to be there, for one?
Yeah.
Like, he's a squib. That is the other thing where, like, the Mrs. Norris being a maledictus, like, would have just been, like, the most... It doesn't change anything thing ever and explains everything all at the same time.
It just gives him, like, a sympathetic backstory or something.
Right.
You know?
It does. And it's like, it explains... I feel like why she's been alive for so long. I don't actually know that she has been around forever.
That is a question. It's hard to say whether she was around during the time of the Marauders, but Filch obviously was.
Yeah, well, I think he's been there for, at bare minimum, 25 years.
Right.
Because I think McGonagall says at one point in time, like, haven't you been complaining about him for a quarter of a century?
Mm-hmm.
And
regarding Peeves. It's
yeah.
also interesting, though, like, Dumbledore was the headmaster when the Marauders went to school, right?
Yes.
So it almost feels like Filch has to have been there longer than Dumbledore because, like, he seems to, like, remember a time when the torturing happened.
Under, like, Dippet?
I guess so.
Well, I guess that would sort of make sense because how long has McGonagall been there? Like, McGonagall could have only known him for 25 years, I guess is possible.
That's true. Like, she could have gotten there after him.
Right.
But we know that's probably figure-outable.
That's probably figure-outable. Yeah.
Maybe he has a time turner and he's just like,
no,
sleep.
that can't be it.
No, that'd be so dumb.
Yeah. But no, that's where I think Mrs. Norris makes so much sense, though, if she's a maledictus, because it like offers this situation where she could have lived for an enormously long time. It would make sense where like Filch sort of has this like slightly more intimate relationship with his cat in that capacity. And maybe like even if she had previously been a teacher at Hogwarts or something, like if she had had some kind of significant role to the castle.
Yeah.
Then it would make sense why he was allowed to stay there.
Maybe we'll discover in Fantastic Beasts that, like, Claudia Kim's mother's character, maybe her last name is, like, Norris. Maybe it's, like, Nagini Norris or something.
Oh, that would be crazy.
That'd be crazy.
That would be what? Crazy. Yeah. This is something where... So we brought it up in the video where it's like, JK said so long ago that she's just a normal cat.
Right.
And we also found out just recently that like she had planned Nagini basically like from the beginning. Which means that she had already had this concept in mind from essentially the start.
It's crazy to me that like in her mind while she's writing the story, like there are things at play that happen to the characters that don't get brought up in the books at all.
Right. Like it's... And that's something where maybe in her mind it was always going to be such like a long play. But even that is like shocking because it almost means that she built the whole world, as elaborate as it is, before she ever even knew it was going to be successful.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's like, that is just... That's an immense amount of work that would have gone into something like if you think about it from our perspective on this side of never having produced the best-selling book series that's ever existed, right?
Yeah.
Like from our perspective, it would be like, well, am I actually going to spend thousands of hours building this world?
Yeah.
Like, what if it doesn't work?
To me, it's like it doesn't even feel to me like she built the world. Like, obviously she had to, because like she's in the process of like actually writing a book and she has to like set up rules and stuff. But to me, it's like as if this world was just like there. Like she just like knew.
Like she just knew it.
Like she's just
like maybe it was something she had been creating for longer than writing.
Yeah, like it's. I think she said that before. Like it's been in her head like forever. Like this is just like a thing,
right?
And it's just like now she's like actually telling you the story from the world or something. But yeah, right. I don't know. It's impressive. But like when we went to the History of Magic exhibit, like you could see like her initial drawing of the castle and like the Great Lake and the giant squid and like even like random things like that were already established, even if they didn't come up right away. She even had like the list of like the Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers from the beginning, and like some of them changed places and some of them got moved around, but it's like she had a pretty good idea.
She did. No, it's crazy. It's like it's so hard because so many of those things were like napkin drawings. You know, like they're things that like legitimately to her would have felt like scraps, but now that I bet like if ever sold at auction or something would be like a napkin drawing. The first time Hogwarts was ever drawn could be worth, you know, thousands of dollars.
Well, we saw it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We saw it in person. Yeah. So anyway, I think what I'm sort of circling back here to with Mrs. Norris is that like because it's such a good explanation, and more critically, like I don't think that J.K. is ever going to introduce something that directly conflicts with like narrative from what we already know. So for example, in Crimes of Grindelwald and all the Fantastic Beasts movies, they're never going to do something that then makes Dumbledore talking to Harry at King's Cross at the end of Deathly Hallows incorrect. Like Dumbledore's guesses will always be right.
Right.
You know, it's like she leaves a little bit of leniency there where it's like technically Dumbledore would be like, it's a guess, but mine have usually been good.
Right.
You know, like they're not good, they're right.
like for the sake of the story, we're supposed to believe that Dumbledore has accurately guessed everything.
Right, but he's supposed to be humble enough to basically like be suggesting like that's my
That's where we come in.
Right. But that's where Mrs. Norris, I think, like it works so well, it doesn't hurt the story.
Right.
Like it should be the explanation unless there is a different one.
The only thing it hurts the story is that like if it's this really like sympathetic, terrible situation that Filch is going through, that like then if you know that, but like the students don't know that, then it can make like maybe you dislike the students for like treating them this way or something.
Sure.
Like something like that. I don't know.
Although I don't know that they ever really. I mean, they're a little bit rude towards Mrs. Norris for sure. But I don't know. I think it could still work.
Yeah.
I think it could still work.
I think it still work.
This, as crazy as it sounds, like it's so funny because this video in particular doesn't seem like outstandingly groundbreaking. But like whenever I've thought about what question I would ask J.K. Rowling if I got to like go sit down in a room with her, it literally is why does Filch get to be at Hogwarts?
It's an interesting question.
Right?
That makes sense.
It's like if you're ever going to meet J.K. Rowling, you need to have like not such a profound question. You need to have a detailed question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's this story?
It shows commitment to the cause. That's my belief, at least. Anyway, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.